Some young people don't have equity. They have parents that are not going to make it. So over the years, we have integrated generations. We'll bring the parents together and bring the kids together, use the income from the two. I am on the Gold Coast somewhat 16 years ago, and my receptionist knocks on my door and says to me, your 10 o'clock is here. You guys got that? Your 10 o'clock appointment is here. So I go into the boardroom, and the coffee in JDL is always good. That's for sure. So I go into the boardroom, and there's this lady sitting there, right? And she's drinking her coffee. And I said, not a word of lie. I opened the door, and I went, ta-da! That's the eccentric bit, right? How many times you get to see a financial advisor? He opens the door and goes, ta-da! Right? Ta-da! And then she says, I already know this is going to be a waste of time. Like, what a donor, right? Ta-da! I already know this is going to be a waste of time, she says. Oh, okay. So why are you here? Why are you here? You know? And she says, oh, I spoke to my brother, and my brother said if I didn't come, he wouldn't talk to me anymore. Right, who's your brother? Richard. Surname? Oh, I see. Her brother is my client. And we designed something amazing. Do you understand? Like what I showed you here before, it was amazing. Cool? Mm-hmm. And compared to what's possible and what I didn't have. So what he did, rather than explain to her what he was up to, go see Julio. Right? When I get there, she says, I already know this is going to be a waste of time. I said, let's not do it. Let's not just like, because you already declared it. You already said it's going to be a waste of time. It doesn't matter what I do. And I don't run rescue. So let's just not do this. Is the coffee good? Good. Come back when you're ready. I can't stop the time. And she says, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. I said, I'm not offended. Not at all. Not at all. Right? It's totally cool. You already have some parameters in your space, in the way you see life. Things already happening for you. And for you, you call it a waste of time. It's totally cool. I got no problem with that. And then she says, oh, I just don't want you to sell me anything. Now you got to hear the words and the requests. I just don't want you to sell me anything. It's a legitimate request. Right? Because, you got to hear the because, I already know what I'm going to do. Right. What then happened was, she says, I already know what I'm going to do. Don't want you to sell me anything. I just know what I want to do. Right. So how come you're here? My brother says. You can see the circular? I said, ma'am, do you see the logo on the door? She goes, yeah. Do you see the office? She goes, yeah. You see all the licenses on the wall? Yeah. Do you know why all of this is here? Why? So we can sell you, become my client. So if you ask me not to sell you anything, that I cannot do. Not only am I passionate about my business, I live my business. And at the end of this meeting, I'm going to ask you to be my client. So if you say to me, don't sell me anything, what's in it for me? I'm definitely not interested then. It's really going to be a waste of time. But that is being honest. Does it make sense? I just don't want you to sell me anything. So I'm going to pretend not to sell you anything. And at the end, I'll sell you anything. I'll tell you, sell you. It doesn't work. That's why we exist. Why? To sell people solutions to their inefficiencies. Right? This is what she says. She says, look, this has gone all wrong. Okay. She says, would you have a look at my numbers? Now, I want you to know I live my life on purpose. When people ask me to do stuff that leads me to my purpose, I will do it. I'm not even going to hesitate. I'm going to do it. Because I made my mind about what am I on the planet for. Already made up my mind. I'm on the planet for this purpose, this purpose, this is what I'm doing. So she says, will you have a look at my numbers? I live for the purpose of raising financial intelligence for people, is what I do. Will you have a look at my numbers? Sure. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not offended. But I want you to know this. I don't want to have any I don't have any mercy on your inefficiencies. You start showing me the story and your numbers, I'm going to call it all the inefficiencies. So let's do this. So I asked her, I said, okay, let's get your numbers done. Yeah. How old are you? She says, mid-40s. Says, how mid? Right? She says, mid. I'm 45. Okay, got it. Now let's have a look at all that is going on. How old are your kids? I ask. She says, I have 2 daughters, one at 8 and one at 10. So far so good? So I'm starting to get this story. But now that you know she has 2 daughters, one at 10 and one at 8, you already know that everything being equal, she's not going to do anything about investing until those 2 girls leave the house. Are you clear about that? Okay? So I asked her, and this is going back 16 years ago, maybe even 18 years ago. I'm going, what is your income? And she says, my income is $180,000. What do you know about a woman who is 45 years old, who can pull out of the market 180 grand almost 20 years ago? What do you know about her? Well educated, a high end. You understand that? She is clever, well positioned. The income, this is a woman who can arrive in the marketplace and says, I demand 180 grand worth of income. So far so good? So then I say, what else? Tell me some more. And I swear to God, I just want you to see the hypnosis. Tell me more. Oh, I just divorced my husband. I'm just getting the settlement. Right. How much money is in the settlement? I'm not making this up. So I want you to start noticing, right, that 10 years, because you can start do some sums here. The husband, the ex-husband, is the father of the daughters. The last 10 years, she accumulated what she makes in 1 year. So you see all the inefficiency. You get that? So they done it and they sold it. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She says, I want to buy a house in Townsville, get this, for $450,000. What do you know about a house in far north Queensland, in Townsville, $450,000 almost 20 years ago? What do you know about that house already? It's a very big house, oceanfront. You understand that? It's an expensive piece of property. Why does she want to buy that? Because she's matching her income to her expenses. And she comes in the room and says, I already know what I want to do. Of course you do. You are indoctrinated. So I'm listening. By the way, no judgment. I don't make people wrong about these things. I just observe it. Crabs will do what crabs do. And ants will do what ants do. And penguins will do what penguins do. Humans will do what humans do. So I'm just observing. Right? So check this out. This is phenomenal. So tell me what the plan. Well, I'm going to pull $30,000 out. For a rainy day. Yep. I'm going to have $150,000. I'm going to use a deposit for the house. I already been to the bank. And they already said yes. Of course they're going to say yes. Look at your income. And the husband is paying maintenance to the kids. Of course. Right? $300,000 worth of mortgage. And, well, that's it. Right, so your accountant, the wizard, will be able to deduct your uniform. I don't have one. Ting tong. So you already know that she's paying for that after tax, after compounding. It's a $900,000 bill. Everybody clear? Like, look at this. And Judah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. My brother says, if I don't come and talk to you, he's not going to talk to me anymore. What do you think we should tell her to do? What should she do? Tell me. You tell me now. What should she do? Just as concept, things we covered this morning. Rent the property, find a tenant. Yeah, what else?
Putting it as an investment property.
Very good. Very good. So, what if, let's now track this. We take the 150 grand, yeah, minus 30, 150. Oh, by the way, let's have a look at how do you get rich? Or you are accumulating capital, you are not. Do you understand that her buying that house, she secures that house, even though it's her own home, yeah, belongs to her. Got that? So she'll be driving that asset over time. So 450 in 10 years goes to 900. Are you with me? So you already know that she'll be holding that asset for a time, and in the future will double in value. Yeah? Great. So what I said to her was, what would you consider, go rent that house, Don't buy. Just go rent it. And rather than buy, again, if you have one house exactly the same, you only have one tenant. So rather than buying a massive house, why don't you buy 3 property investments? So you're going to love this. $300,000 each. Yep. $250,000 worth of debt against each house. Is my drawing make sense? Okay. $250,000 worth of debt against each house. Yeah? What's the size of the asset base now? 900. 900 in 10 years? 1.8 million. Thank you for playing the game. 450 into 900 in time. Sorry. 450 into 900,000. Over here is 1.8, sorry, it's 900,000 into 1.8 million. Do you guys see this? Yeah. Here, she is paying for it after tax, after compounding. Over here, I'll bring Tom, Dick, and Harry up front. Now, what are the chances do you think she's going to go see the wizard? Very high. Look at her income. 3 property investments. What's the wizard going to do? Going to lodge the tax return. How much money she's going to get back? Come on, guys. 30 grand. You getting this? 30 grand. What are we going to do with the 30 grand? Put it straight in there. So it's 250, yeah? Because I used 3 sets of 50s. 50 deposit here, 50 deposit here, 50 deposit here. 250 worth of deposit, worth of debt. We put the 30,000 in there. What's the debt at the end of the first year?
220.
Next year? This is just time running now, yeah? Next year? You know what we did? Actually, we bought another house. And she told me it was going to be a waste of time. The Mini. So I showed her that. I pulled up the software, did a financial wealth check. What if this daughter goes to the United States for this university? What if? Start looking at the assets, blah, 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 blah. And then she says to me, oh, well, how do I engage? And I said, there's no way I'm taking you on as a client. There's no way. I said, what do you mean? I said, you know and I know you're an obtuse woman. You're going to be a pain in the ass client. I'm not interested. We're just calling for what it is. That's how you're going to be. It's like, oh. No, you know. I said to her, I'll cut you a deal. I will take your client as a client if you make me a promise, a real promise, and you cannot break this promise. What is it? Every time you move, you show the girls what you're up to. I don't care the language you use. I don't care, don't judge their age. Every time you move, you tell the girls what you're up to. Every time. Every time. And you know what? She did it. So she bought 3 houses. The following year during the heavy review, the girls were there. Following year, the girls were there. Following year, the girls were there. So imagine, right? You go to a 10-year-old and you say, darling, this is mommy's buying another house. This is a contract for a house. And this, darling, is a loan application. See, we're going to fill this documentation in and the bank is going to give us money and we're going to get the money, buy another house. Kids are in alpha. They're not judging it. What's happened to the hypnosis of the kids? The hypnosis of the kids are being smashed. Yeah, I'm going to break the barrier. I'm going to push it through though. But give me the time because I need to know. So what happens here is the hypnosis is out. I think boyfriends have something to do because the girls after 15, 16, once the girls turn 15 years old, they disappeared. So boyfriends have something to do with it. They didn't come back. 10 years later, It's absolutely, watching this manifest is absolutely beautiful. Some of you now are going to be very encouraged to what happens when you take your kids off the hypnosis. 10 years later, I'm about to start the fast track in Brisbane. I go in, and you know when people know you, have you noticed these little things about humans? When people know you, they hold the gaze a little longer, that microsecond. There's a little, so if I don't know you, I hold the gaze for a time. But if I get to know you, we hold a little longer. Hey. So I'm about to start, presenting, and this girl walks in, she's gorgeous, like, oh my God, gorgeous, as tall as me, she locks it on, boom. And she's coming. And she's smiling. She's coming my way. Like, I'm like, oh, hello. I don't know what to do. Like, hello. Hi. How you doing? Well, 5 years. A lot happens in 5 years. She's running from a kid, comes back as a woman. Says, hi, it's me, the oldest. Oh, hello. Sits down. She says, my mother's parking the car. My mother's going to come soon. So sits right at the front. I wouldn't recognize her. Comes lunchtime at the fast track. And she says this, watch this go. You got to be very encouraged right now. This is a 20-year-old who just finished, about to be 21, just finished university, right? Just got her very first job at the time, around 50 grand worth of income. So far, so good? So she tells me, we're going to pull equity out of my mother's houses. She actually says workhorses. We're going to pull some equity out of my mother's workhorses, and we got by my first workhorse. So far, so good? Who bought this house? You can say the mother did. You could say Tom did. You can say Harry did. But what I want you to notice is the equity on side of these assets. The workhorses jumped a generation. You guys got that? So this gal is 20 years old, have a house purchased by a chain reaction already in place. Let me ask you a question. How much tax do you think she's going to pay out of that 50 grand that she's going to receive? Give me a number.
0.
0 is the number. So you understand that some of our clients, Australia is a tax haven. Do you understand when you go home, you call your accountant, you tell them, double my fees because it's worth every dollar. Right? And they're going to look at it and go, whoa. So now, when they go, so we pull equity out of here, bought this, it's just a matter of time when this grows up, because we're going to start paying this down. The tax coming back to the daughter, pay it down, and the moment in which they have enough equity, we refinance this house, pay the mother back, and it's separate, and the girl goes on her merry-go-round. Make sense? And the conversation goes like this. Oldest daughter goes home, says to the younger daughter, to her sister, nah. Mother bought me a house today. The younger daughter, get this, 18 years old, about to be 19, says to the mother, what about me? And the mother says, when you finish university, we'll do the same for you. Sounds logical. Sounds like a good argument. Does it make sense? Watch the power in this 19-year-old. Watch the power go. Money, you work for me. And this 19-year-old, right? She goes, Ma, I cannot wait 2 years. Listen to this. What do I have to do? What's the income I have to have? Because she gets it. Tom's going to pay for it. She gets it. What kind of income do I have to sustain this? Without you, Mother, just give me the startup, and then what do I need to do? See, second daughter is halfway through university. She's working at a cafe, and she's saying, hey, how many hours do I need to work? And we worked it back to front. You need to make 40 grand a year to become sustainable. I can do that. I have this, says the 19 years old. So, from a JDL perspective, I want you to know that in 10 years, there's a bunch of other properties, and when we pull the equity to do the first one and do the second one for the second daughter, there are real buffers. Come hell or high water, those women are not going to hit the wall. Do you understand that? And you know those 3 girls, mother and 2 daughters, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with because they command assets. That makes sense? The girl's 19 years old. You go, boom. So we reversed it. And off we go. So between the 3 of them, let's do it now. Got it. Can you see the power of the youngest? I cannot wait 2 years. Let me go get this done. So during the signing of the contract for the first property for the second daughter, I was in the office that day. So I'm sitting there, like, hey, I go in, hey, how's it going? Sitting there. She says, I want to ask you a question. Sure, hit. Second daughter, right? The youngest. Julio, who should I date? What? I'm the advisor of financial. So who should I? The moment that the answer starts to come out of me, right? Which was, date who you like, you know? I don't know, if you like a guy, go see him, you know? Well, no. The moment the answer starts to come out, I realized it wasn't the question. The question is, who should I date? And I went, oh, I see. So I said to her, if you meet a boy you really like, you ask him straight out, what are you reading? And if he says nothing, move on. What are you reading? Nothing. Move right along. Because you see, unhypnotized people, which she is, unhypnotized people is zigging. Hypnotized people is zagging. Unhypnotized people should not marry hypnotized people. They make really weird kids. Highly confused kids. You understand? So, boy tells you, I'm not reading anything, move right along. Because he's hypnotized. And what is he going to do? Put the, and you come down this road with me. The hypnotized road. You come down with me that road. And then I realized it's nothing to do with gender. Boy meets girl, loves the girl. Hi, darling, what are you reading? Nothing, move right along. Why? Because she's going to do the same to you. So we are commanding money, or we're working for it. It is like, and it's nothing to do with the amount, it's to do with the approach. If you only have $10, let's invest $10 every week. And then we grow it to $20. It's the command of the money. Go in the marketplace and bring me a return. And the story goes that this girl actually meets a guy. She falls in love with him. His life. And then she goes, what are you reading? And he goes, nothing. Right? So she says, here's a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You read this and we would date. She was also gorgeous. So the guy goes, whoa, I finished it. Okay, we date now. JDL Strategies, raising the financial intelligence of Australia, right? Boom, right? So guys, here's the game. We are working for money, or money was working for us. Case study number 2 is all about permission. When I'm 19 years old, for me, my clients taught me so much over the years. When this girl says at 19, I have this, all you see is permission. But you know what we learned from this? What you can get from this? Some young people don't have equity. They have parents that are not going to make it. So over the years, we have integrated generations. We bring the parents together, we bring the kids together, use the income from the two. Do you understand? Start working this together. It's in events like this that people start to get it. Oh my God, mom and dad not going to make it. Well, help them not by giving them money, but integrating these strategies. You need wizards in your house. You need people that get to see this. And by the way, everything is firewalled. The numbers are done. And if you can't afford to do it, you don't do it. If you can afford to do it, you go do it. Make sense? So case study number 2 for me is such a blessing, because unhypnotized people should not marry hypnotized people.